at this stage. Okay, so if you guys want to get set up and let me know when you're ready, I'll start the timer. Let me know when I have to press the button.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Kivov, you ready?
Yep. Good luck.
Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So this is Celeste Any Percent, the main category of the game. We will be speedrunning to unlock the epilogue, which is completing chapter 7 this time. Right here we are in prologues, so we don't have our dash yet actually, so we're just jumping around everywhere, just a little introduction to the game. And accidental reset, because like in this game you skip cutscenes, but if you try to skip too early, you may accidentally hit the retry button. Next chapter, we're on a Forsaken City. It's like another introductory chapter to the game. Like just teaches the basic mechanics of the game. And like casually, it's very simple, but like it's a short chapter and it's very technical, speedrun wise actually. Which is kind of like the beauty of the game. Like it starts out like pretty simple, casually, but you can make it as complex as you want it to be, just with using different techniques. Oh, nice corner boost right there. Like, yeah, that's pretty hard. Yeah, it kind of looked like he like dashed like over the spikes barely. It was like he did dash then climb jump right next to them, which is pretty precise. But it's made easier by the recent patch actually, which like there's like a recent update to the game, which brought some very wanted changes.
For me.
Yeah, very fast gameplay. Wow, another spike corner boost right there. Very nice. Now this skip is a little tricky, but we can do a little wall corner kick to avoid taking those traffic blocks.
This is kind of where the story of the game starts.
So people kind of get concept of saying this is where the game actually starts.
So we meet an interesting character. And yeah, in Celeste, like basically every chapter has a little mechanic they introduced, and in this chapter they introduced these dream blocks, these little like wavy black blocks. I don't know how to describe them, but they're just dream blocks. You can dash through them. It looks really sick. You can also jump out of them once you exit them, which has some tech also. And you can also even hyper dash out of them, although you won't probably see that until later in the run. Oh yeah, this section, basically you meet the character we're talking about, Battle Line, which is basically your evil counterpart almost. That's just a simple way to explain it, but she's very mad at you and is chasing you because she does not want you to climb this mountain. Oh yeah. And right about in this section, we get to see some nice movement. Just a little showcase of what's so good about Celeste. A little speed conservation there with the ultra dashes. Ooh, sub 150, nice. Let's go.
For a game where the inputs and stuff are so easy, it's so actually technical executing it.
yeah, it's just really beautiful how you can combine like just such basic controls into like just it's like the series of techniques needed to pull off the speed run. It's really sick. So heading into chapter 3, Celestial Resort. What defines this chapter are the red dust bunnies you see, like they're black with the red outline. Those you see like they're constantly moving. That kind of affects the speed strats here because they're on like a constant cycle, and that affects what kind of strats you take in each room.
So that's a constant RNG kind of thing?
Not RNG, but like it's like predetermined in that it might affect you if like you mess up, for example, you might have to take a different strat. Like you can't just use the same strat because these cycles matter so much. Nice skip right there. So heading into this next checkpoint, the whole like shtick of it is that it's like a hub, and you can choose like different routes to go through. There's 3 like different switches you have to hit with 3 different exits, and you can like choose the order of which ones you want to do, and that like actually affects how these rooms play out because every time you hit a switch, it clears like part of this clutter in the hotel. So that's like the whole like story of the chapter. You're like helping the manager clean the hotel, and hitting the switch like clears out some of these colored blocks you see, and that actually changes how these rooms play out, like I said. And the depth of that is that like different categories in this game actually take different routes with that, since different routes are faster. Switch here after this, and then you always grab that key in the middle.
Really trying to comprehend what's going on.
We're just moving.
A lot of RNG elements to Celeste, or
I think it's pretty notable for not having RNG really. Like can't really think of any instances that are like actually RNG in the speedrun, which is very speedrunner friendly, I guess. Like it makes it great to learn to run. Yeah, I think we've seen like a recent like spike in activity in the leaderboards, which like means more strats too. Like partly because of the new update. Yeah, something that I think separates Celeste from some other games is that like for all these rooms, there's like not one clear strat, but there's like you can like just use the moving pad at your disposal to like just form different strats. And like depending on your skill level, you can just choose what strat's best for you, but like there's so many options. Now to this last checkpoint, I don't know how to explain. I don't want to explain the story or anything, but the hotel manager is now mad at you and he's chasing you as this scary demon thing. You know? Really long room right here. nicely done. So in Chapter 4 Golden Ridge, we're introduced to green bubbles, which basically kind of act like as a dash in place. Not in place, but like it just, you can dash as if it were just a dash, but like it's a bubble. So you'll be seeing a lot of that. And also these clouds, which if you wait on and then jump, you get a little height boost, and you can also combine that with different tech like hyper dashes and super dashes to get speed while also going high.
Every time I hear that doorbell, I'm just associated with takeaway at this stage.
The sound design of this game is just really nice, actually. Okay, so right here, this is a pretty hard skip. That, oh man, so you saw that Pensive like slipped on the wall a bit. That was like using a sub-pixel setup that's like less than a pixel to be able to do what's called a ceiling pop, which is like when you time a climb jump at a certain sub-pixel, you just slide off it forward, and it gives you enough distance to cross the end of that room. Like normally you take one of these black auto-scroller blocks to the end of the room, but that was just, we entirely skipped that, which is a very hard skip. Like, I think like a 4-frame window now. We'll skip right there too. Using the speed of the auto-scroller block. That makes this checkpoint challenging. There's like wind. You see that like back-facing wind. It like actually affects your movement quite a bit. And also these killer snowballs are chasing you. And wow, okay, that's a strat right there.
You really have to use your environment to your advantage.
Oh yeah.
This game is completely like skill based. It's not like you're not using glitches or out of bounds or...
Oh no, out of bounds or anything like that.
It's just such. I just find it very cool.
Okay, Kivov, do you want to try to explain the tempo split with the 5B and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. So for now we've been completing the A sides of these chapters. This game actually has like for each chapter, like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. There's actually an A side, a B side, and a C side to each. We've been doing the A side so far, but there's actually an unintended mechanic where if you clear the B side of a level, you can actually count for the chapter clear, which, oh man, which is not intended. And so it's actually faster for us to not complete chapter 5 A side, but to grab the cassette to unlock chapter 5 B side and then complete chapter 5 B side. And the B sides are generally harder than the A sides, so it's a challenging part of the run, for sure. So yeah, we're in chapter 5 A side right now, but we won't be completing all of this A side in favor of chapter 5 B side. If that makes sense. Just why we're heading down right here for a little detour. Oh man, that's set up. the cassette, and we menu out to the B-side.
Okay, I'm gonna pause buffering. I want to try and explain that.
Oh god, pause buffering. It's sort of a recent thing from the update. The devs, so pause buffering was possible before, but it was kind of degenerate, so the devs decided to make it a bit more intuitive and accessible. How do we explain this? So, the pause buffering, you can basically frame advance your inputs to get the precise inputs you want. And so the main strat here is saving time, like 20 seconds or something in this level, is Bub's drop. Right here, you see the pauses, then the jump, and then falling back to the transition. That, we're just abusing the checkpoints to be able to skip a bunch of rooms, so we end up here. Because the game doesn't know where to put us once we drop back down after that one room. And the pause buffering just makes that more lenient. It's a little hard to explain. Yeah, this level has a lot of very tight cycle-based rooms, especially when you're going faster like this. The little nice wall bounce skip right there out of the level. I want to point out the music in this level is so smooth. Yeah, heading into this checkpoint, we see more of these, they call them seekers. I guess they're just kind of like scary demon fish that chase you. And we use them for some strats, since they give us our dash back and they can boost us as well. Really tight ultra right there. We're introduced to, oh man, there's so many introductions. We're introduced to Theo and this crystal right here. We can basically just carry him to the end of each room. And all that sounds like a disadvantage. You can actually get some speed using him. Like right there. Back up. Wow, that's a pretty solid time right there. Okay, so with reflection, actually introduces kind of a controversial mechanic in feathers, which you see are really free-form to control, and it's a little awkward using the keyboard like Pensive is, I think, but it's doable. Okay, so here we just wall bounce next to the spikes, and we skip that room. Pretty sick stuff. Oh yeah, Kevin blocks. They're named after a lovely, it's like the sound designer of the game, Kevin, because he voiced these friggin' blocks right here, and when you dash into them, they come after you, which you can use to reach places you normally can't. And they also give you speed, which the game does a lot, with entities that give you speed, you can chain that speed in different ways, right here, you'll see. Another thing about reflection in this level, there are branching paths in many of the places. Right there, we could have gone top or bottom, but it's faster to go top, so we take that route. And right here, we could have gone top or bottom again, but we're going top. Honestly, these blocks are kind of RNG in a way, where like it's not really RNG, but it's like very inconsistent as to whether you get your dash back on those, which people complain about a lot. Nice little slide right there. Yeah, this level has a lot of mechanics. I guess another mechanic of this level are the bumpers we just saw, and they kind of like twitch around a little bit, which actually has their hitbox moving around, so they're a little hard to work with. A lot of them are also moving around like this on cycles. I heard originally this level is meant to be something of a water level, so right here actually there's a tiny water section, but it's very minimal. It's the most water you'll see in this run. Personally, I don't think water is like doesn't really lend itself to like speed and stuff, so I'm pretty thankful it's just that section. Okay, so right here we get like this boost off the giant Kevin, which launches us into this next cutscene. Pretty sick stuff. And with this checkpoint, the Battleline boss fight, we see Battleline again, but this time we are launching ourselves into her. So we're trying to convince her why we should climb this mountain. Yeah, it's just a very movement-heavy section, so it's very impressive to watch. Oh man, massive speed right there. It's also kind of operates on cycles too, since Battleline's like firing different laser patterns at us. Learned a mountain climb on Battleline. And approaching that end level here. Solid run so far, I think. Once again, this is one of the levels where they just have one of these really long runs at the end that kind of annoys speedrunners, since in Celeste a lot of the rooms are super short and you get the checkpoint in every room, so it's kind of annoying when you can just die at the end of this long room, but we did it, we made it. And we made up with Battleline, so now she's become a part of us again, and we have 2 dashes now instead of just the 1 dash, which will play a part in this next level after this. That's a really good time rate.
Yeah, this is 3 seconds away from my PB for this level.
Yo. So yeah, last chapter of the summit, we will have the 2 dashes, like I said. Which makes some of these obstacles quite a bit different than usual, especially at the end of the level. It's a real long one too, like, The mechanic of this chapter is that it actually combines all of the previous chapters into one, so you get a glimpse of that like every chapter. Which we'll see after this checkpoint. See, Adeline's helpless now because she launches us upwards. Yeah, like I said, with this checkpoint, it's based on the first chapter we saw. So you see those traffic blocks again, the moving blocks that activate. That's a fancy stride right there. I've never seen someone like jump off and then zoom in. That's sick. Right there, we just hyper dash, skip that first traffic block. And yeah, going with the theme, like I said earlier, this checkpoint is based on chapter 2, so we have drink blocks returning. And since we have 2 dashes, we get to actually see the mechanic. You can hyper dash out of the drink block, which gives you a lot of speed. And normally that wouldn't be helpful, but since you have 2 dashes, you can use one dash to hyper dash, and then the other dash to like redirect yourself, or like even just chain the speed sometimes. Like in this section, like those are the hyper dashes you see. Dream hypers, actually, what they're called. Back to the Celestial Resort here. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't explain this, but we have technique called demo dashes. It lets you dash the crouched hitbox just on your normal dash, so you can just sometimes phase through spike walls, no big deal. Usually pretty precise though, so it takes a lot of skill. Here we actually take a bit of an alternate route. Like you see, we have that berry on the side. Usually berries are in like rooms that are hidden away, but this turns out that this alternate route is actually faster than the main route, since we can use our speed tech more. Okay, so here we have that black oscilloscope thing, but we actually skip it by landing on that the tiniest platform and just dashing our way to the end. That is pretty challenging to get right there. We try to minimize our time with these auto scores as like less as possible. So with this auto score, we try to skip it at the end and not write it all the way up. Like right here, yep. We don't even activate any of those auto score blocks at the bottom, and it's funny. Oh, nice strat there, back at the auto score where we demo dash into that gap and then hyper opposite. Just kept having to wait on it. Very clean movement right here. Okay, so right here, usually, you would take a bubble from the very bottom, red bubble, which rides you all the way up to grab that key, but instead you can use a precise wall bounce to get just barely enough height to grab the key early, which is a useful skip. Right here, we will thread the needle in between that gap. Oh look, it's door skip. Saves like a million years or something. That was the end of the chapter 5 section, and you're on to the last checkpoint, actually. Pretty solid pace right here, I have to say. It's just insane having this kind of run out of everything. Yeah. yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, we're trying to see about times to chime in every now and again, but all four of us are sitting here just with our jaws wide open. We don't know what to say.
I'm glad to hear it. If you didn't notice, there's these little like flags that make a little checkpoint sound, and we're in flag 19 right now, as you can see. That is a checkpoint, and there are 19 more flags until the end, until flag 1. Such a good indicator of how hard. Yeah, like I said earlier, with having 2 dashes makes the obstacles here like pretty different than most of the other chapters. A little precise jump over those spikes right there. With some of these flag checkpoints, we actually skip them to save time. Like, after this flag, you may notice on the top right there's a flag, but we just don't go for that, since it loses quite a bit of time. So there is some risk involved. Well, I do have to point out, there's a flag here that we skip, but that we actually have our checkpoint like when we enter the screen, so it's fine if we skip that flag. Flag 3. Flag 1 is kind of a victory lap almost, but it has some pretty hard movement when you're speedrunning actually. Sub 9, is that PB? Is it?
Yeah, that's a PB by like 10 seconds.
So is that time?
Let's go! Yeah, sorry, that's time.
That is... I seriously, well done, that was unreal. And did you just say there as well that is a PB?
Yeah, by around 10 seconds, that's an
A PB by about 10 seconds.
What a run.
This is a lifetime in that game, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially at that level of gameplay, it's insane.
It really actually seems as if there's not, like, I haven't seen a full run of this before, but anytime I have seen aspects of the game, it just seems as if there's nothing not good about the game. Like, the audio is awesome, the visuals is awesome, the mechanics, everything's just unreal.
I agree. That's why you guys should try it out. It's a sick game, like even just casually.
So before we move on to the next runner, do you guys let us know where we can find you guys, and if you have any shoutouts to give out?
You can just find me on my Twitch account, which I think was linked earlier.
And yeah, I'm just commentating, but I also speedrun Celeste, many different categories actually, and you can find me at twitch.tv/Kivov, spelled the same. Yep.
Perfect. Again, I'm just gobsmacked at just this whole run. It really is. I think Monoxide said it best earlier, where if we were going to have, we were saying we wanted to do a speedrunning event, and we knew that Celeste didn't need to be a part of it. And I think that was a very good call on his part, and thank you so much for this showcase. So definitely, guys, make sure to check out Pensive Cola, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.